And we are live. Everyone, welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. Vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer questions of the StarDance effect, because I may be able to get a hiatus host back on for a show in the sometime. I'm kind of trying to negotiate. And if anybody's got a problem with the way that I pronounce the word enunciate, if you got a problem with the way that I say words with an OU instead of just go back to sleep, got better things to do. Part of this is to follow through with the adage that sometimes I'm your main host. I'm known as Shujin, and you can find me pretty much everywhere under that name. Shujin. Hi, welcome back. Good to have you. It's been an interesting couple of days. So if I'm a little off my game, I left work Thursday halfway through my shift because I started to get a tickle in the back of my throat when I was swallowing. There were other folks at the shop who had ill, and I had one of the guys at the shop who half my age, if that, and he's Shoo, obviously. Shoo, you're not feeling great. We've got the coverage. You've got like 50 hours of sick time. Use it. And of course had to go ahead and say, well, why don't you ever use your sick time? I don't know. It's trying to do anything stupid. I'm not trying to be, Mr. Superman or nothing. It's just I don't get whatever. Anyway, welcome back. Let me go ahead and introduce you to everybody because most of the crew here. We'll see how this. On the right-hand coast, where there may eventually be a new state. Eventually, one day, hopefully inside of our life, UnrenownedTech. Good morning.
Sorry about that. I was push to talk just as I was starting to get a tickle in my throat. Anyway, no, seriously, I really was had to cough. Yeah, it's actually good morning. I had my new fiber installed, fiber internet installed. I went with a lower end package because I just wanted to do a whole bunch of testing first. I'm currently using it. And what's really funny is the lower end package is a has a maximum and minimum guaranteed speeds, and this is a local fiber internet company, and they're making big waves because the only service I had in my area was Comcrap, which is craptastic. And Comcrap was advertising, oh, you can get these speeds of this X amount now on your package for free, and they just kept elevating the numbers, and I would constantly test, and I was like, the speeds I would get were so wildly fluctuated. You think that my Ethernet cable was tied to a Jack Russell Terrier on methamphetamines? Yeah. For those of us who have worked with internet technology before, we completely understand that reference. Yeah, we're not even, and let's not even talk packet loss. What I have is so smooth, so consistent. I actually don't really need anything faster at this point. It's just been phenomenal. And the customer care and the service technicians are all experienced people, actually know what they're talking about. And I have two personal cell phone numbers. One of the installer, because he and I got along like, you know, whatever goes really well together, like peanut butter and jelly. And then one of the sales reps, because apparently I'm one of the few customers who actually know what to expect out of their service and what the technology is fully capable of. So they want like somebody who actually had knowledge. They were valuing my feed, like elevating the value of my feedback. And I'm like, oh damn, I'm that customer. So that was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, it was like Comcraps. Yeah, you're not going to keep up with this. It's like I'm going to be canceling my other service.
Well, this is, and on the opposite coast right now, there on the left, where, of course, um, everything is an entire Civil War hellscape. Sort of. IO Cloud, good evening.
Help me!
I got nothing.
Uh, uh, um, don't believe the mass media that's basically controlled by the current administration. Most of the Western states are actually quite happy so long as the current administration stays the hell out.
Perfectly reasonable.
Um, Mind you, I haven't really gone out much because I've been doing other things in the house.
Like panicking.
Not yet.
Well, I heard that for women who experience issues with panic and anxiety, they make these personal devices which are supposed to help relieve these kinds of emotions.
Yes, it's called
Um,
hysterics
they, they,
for a
they
reason.
yeah, yeah. They make these special ones. I believe they're known to be magic.
I prefer the rose, thank you very much.
That
Hey, whatever
TMI
makes the
flag
boat
is down.
float.
Gonna
It's a
pass this one.
it's a personal massager. It helps deal with sore muscles, aches and pains.
I still love that skit on. I still love that little skit put out by No Panic Button on YouTube about the little man in the boat. That was freaking hilarious.
Ah, yeah. Aren't you afraid that he's doing that to your daughter? No.
Moving right along. Good to have y'all with us. We do know that there is an audience out there, and
Small audience.
don't care. It is not just me.
It's not the size that counts; it's how you use it.
Trust me. When I was trying to do the phone cast, just me talking for an hour, that was not fun. Do then it was less fun when somebody actually. That's a
I,
whole other thing.
I I need to interrupt because what Stephanie is saying is true. Because I just pulled up the stream. Sujin, for whatever reason, you're coming through Discord just fine, but and Io and I are coming through Discord just fine, but you can be barely heard.
Yeah,
That
even
is,
Black says that you're soft.
yeah, I'm seeing that now. Before we got started, hold on a second over here. Before we got
Whoa.
started, yeah, I know, there's the problem. Before we got started, I was checking my volume levels, and my volume levels were, yeah, my volume levels were perfectly fine on OBS. And if OBS is being a weird butt, that is something that happened between when I checked it and when we started going live. So my apologies on that. I am changing that around a little bit over on this side. So I apologize. I did not know because everything was right when I told everything start streaming. Sorry about that. Wish I'd known.
Okay.
Anyhow,
That's okay. So, in all honesty, yeah, I've been hearing and seeing stuff, but I've just been keeping the news off because I don't want to see news I don't really want to deal with news because can't trust any of the major news organizations because, you know, they're not reporting the news, they're reporting what the administration wants them to say. And I'm just sitting here and still working on the scarf that I was started about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, and I'm past the halfway point. So
Fair enough. So, as I was trying to get out, thank you all for being with us. If you are up and awake when we're recording, feel free to drop over on us over here on YouTube. We'd be happy to have you over here, which includes over here, as usual, Stephanie, and thank you. Sorry, wasn't trying to make you, lose your mind or nothing. And Blackhorde, thank you also. Yeah, like I said, I checked my audio levels before Io got onto the call and before everything started streaming, even the test. I don't know what happened. Black magic, man. I don't know. I don't get it. But you know what? We're here. We're back. Cool. Everything's nice. Cool. We'll go with that. So it's going to be, it's the way it's going to be. Like I said, Thursday I left early from work. Friday I took the day off because it had the coverage and truth be told, I didn't want to push it. And like I said, I got plenty of time. Okay, whatever. So effectively I will have had a 3.5 day weekend, I guess, technically. Is what it is. So things will be the way that they are. Oh, and additionally, as I told the guys over here, the light bulb in the light fixture behind me, yeah, I switched out the bulbs. It was a little bit too dark, and I had only just realized maybe I should get a different light bulb in there. Yeah, big difference, as you can probably tell. I know I can. Anyway, let's just get going. And it's freezing for you. Everything on my side looks good. OBS says everything is streaming out correctly.
Everything's looking good. Blackboard, I recommend as a professional, IT professional, to try to force an unexpected reboot.
Preferably of the save everything as it goes through kind of version.
You're talking to somebody who was tech support so high that people's lives were in danger.
Shh, we don't admit to using drugs on this show.
No. As in keeping people alive because he was tech supporting and making sure the stuff that his company made was working right.
I'm sorry, you could have just said he's a furry. That would have gotten the point across. And
he's not a furry.
And even though Tech isn't a furry, we've seen his face. He's a furry.
Okay, technically, I guess you can say that Black is a furry because he's got that Santa thing going on.
Oh, well and good. So, while you go ahead and do whatever it is that you're going to do for rebooting or whatever it is that's going to make that work, I hope. But I get everything rolling over here on my side. So with 5 minutes on the clock for you, your 5-minute freestyle is going to start right now. Thanksgiving. Now, here in the United States, of course, it is not yet Thanksgiving. That's not going to be happening until next month. But with our friends just north, it's Thanksgiving this weekend. Matter of fact, very specifically Monday. And there's not too much different between American Thanksgiving and Canadian Thanksgiving. I mean, other than the fact that, well, Canadian Thanksgiving is, well, it's Thanksgiving. I mean, the entire title of the holiday tells you pretty much all that you really need to know about. It's a matter of being grateful, being thankful for what you've got. who you've got to spend it with. Sometimes we get the opportunity to spend it with family. Sometimes not, for various reasons. Sometimes we get to do it with friends instead. Sometimes not. The ones that are important, more important, in some cases even most important, are family of choice. The ones that fit somewhere between blood relation and met them through work, through a shared environment. It's hard to say how important family of choice is because the term is still, relatively new. I don't think it's even in any real documented avenue. But it's a cool idea, isn't it? People who, full well, they're effectively family, even if there's no documentation that says that you're related. There's no blood shared. There's no address that's been cohabitated in. It's just people who have a shared bond. And that bond is, I like you. I like to spend time with you. I'm glad that I've gotten to know you. And I'm so glad that your crazy matches my crazy. Sometimes that really is just the entirety of it all. So, for you guys up there up north, and for those who are expatriated from it, seriously, happy Thanksgiving. I'm glad for you guys. Especially considering that, Thanksgiving is coming up. The first Thanksgiving where there is a lot that's going to be going on. That's going to be next month, near the end of the month. And I'm getting very worried about what that's going to be like. Not necessarily for myself, because I'm more than happy to just spend it at home. I'm worried about what's going to be happening out there in the general populace. The idea is that family gets together, family has dinner together, and everybody, puts aside their differences for a while and just spends time together as family. That's not going to happen this year. I'm telling you right now. I'm calling it right now. That this year's Thanksgiving, the travel season is going to be far and away lighter than it has been in almost a decade. The travel is not going to be nearly as bad because there are people who are going to just say, y'all might be family, but you're not my family. We might have blood relation. You're not family. And that's not even taking into account the way that the border has been closed between the US and Canada for, at one point, commercial traffic, but for flight traffic. Folks, I'm not looking forward to this. But I will tell you this. I am terribly thankful for the friends that I've made who live on the other side of that border. All of you who are my friends or my family of choice. Well, thank you. Thank you for being part of mine. With that out of the way, we get to go on over to the horrible scopes because this works out really well. As stated, time for the horrible scopes. For those of you that know what your astrological sign is, cool. Those of you that don't, you can make it up however it is that you'd like to do it. D12, rock, paper, scissors. I don't really much care. Just don't throw darts in the air and expect them to fall down somewhere safe. We tried that in the 70s. That doesn't work out really well.
Ah, lawn darts. Such good memories.
Yeah, for those of you that have good memories of lawn darts, you did not play directly with lawn darts as a catcher. So this week's Mimic Report is...
You're not supposed to catch them.
Mostly non-existent. That's right. There's no report, no sponsors, no way to know just where the Mimic ended up this week. Because last we heard, it was hidden in plain sight at a library as part of a tabletop gaming diorama. But there's no current information. Nobody know. I mean, it just kind of appeared one day. Nobody knew that it showed up, but there's suddenly another piece in the diorama, and then suddenly there isn't. So it just kind of got up and walked away. Nobody knows where. Nobody knows when. All we know is that it seemed to now be reasonably self-aware, which is worrisome. So the inspiration for this week's Scopes has been a long time in the making, a very long time. Friend of the show, who I'm simply going to be referring to as the Greyhound Lady, gifted me a copy of Sun Signs by Linda Goodman, this very specific book right here, hoping that one day I would use it for, the Horrible Scope someday. Well, hon, here's your big chance. Except that this book is 500 pages long. And there's only about a 48-hour window where the writing takes place for the Scopes. So, yeah, don't expect anything significant. Huh? What was that?
Only 500 pages? That's a light read.
Yeah, that might be for you. For those of us for whom brain power is at a premium, it doesn't work nearly as well that way. Trust me. I took a quick look to try to get through part of it because I figured maybe. No. Aries, before we even crack open this book, we're going off on you. Yeah, traditionally you are the first star sign listed. So please forgive the indelicacy, but your symbol looks a lot like a uterus and fallopian tubes. You didn't even have to turn your head to see it, did you? So this week, how did we never see this before? How did you never see this before? Be more attentive to your surroundings and question everything. You are not immune to propaganda. Techie?
Taurus, at least your symbol looks like what your animal is. A circle for a head and two horns upside down. The downside is it's distressingly close to a broken Mickey Mouse-esque triple circle design. So this week, expect a cease and desist letter from the House of Mouse any day now. Better them than Nintendo, honestly. Who knew a card game making company would still be making new card games over 150 years later?
Gemini. Oh, you're not immune from visual abuse here. You've always been the little kid in this collection, like it or not. How? Okay, take a look at your symbol, right? Curvy sticks on the top and bottom connected to two straight sticks. Yeah? Okay, turn it sideways. Now, what is that? That is the symbol for Pisces. So this week, all your life, you've been trying to live up to others' standards of you instead of defining yourself on your own terms. Grow up and be yourself for a change. Start by raking up all the leaves and diving into them. Why do I feel called out?
Like a dog. Those of you that don't know, there's that one dog that there's a whole bunch of videos. She just loves to dive into a pile of leaves. Cancer Moonchild, we're not going to talk about your symbology. I mean, yeah, we've seen all the jokes already. Yeah, hilarious. Yeah, Scotch sex tapes. That got it. Hilarious. Have you ever stopped to think what an amazing get out of jail free card you have, by the way? So this week, play a game that includes PvP and announcements when a player is killed, but use your star sign as your username. It'll keep coming up that Cancer has killed whoever it is, or that someone has killed Cancer. And that will keep you entertained for at least a week.
Leo, looking at your symbol on the book cover is a little weird. The official one should look like a head with a long wave of hair coming off of it, or maybe a sperm cell. But this one looks like something you do when you're learning how to use calligraphy pens and didn't get it down just yet. This week, do you know that there's something called sand writing? Seriously, look it up and consider how ephemeral that style of art really is.
Virgo, we know these symbols are pretty ancient, but seriously, this one's just odd. Where some are supposed to convey a picture of some kind from the stars in the sky, yours looks like someone was trying to write the shorthand version of the word prescription with the letters capital R and lowercase x, but used the wrong letters. So this week, your letters look to be hyperextended letter M, lowercase e, which is pretty spot on for you, isn't it? It's all about you. So how about you do something selfless this week? Do something to make someone else feel good.
Libra, your symbol has far more going on in it than most folks think about. Because first, it's an equal sign, owing to the scales and balance idea. But the center of the top bar balloons out in the middle, which means it's either the central pivot point or intended to look like the Greek symbol omega. So this week, that omega is also used in electrical theory as a measure of resistance called ohms. And if you want your spirit to be in balance, do some meditation by chanting Om. It's easier than understanding how electrical resistance actually works.
Scorpio, wow. Copycat much? We just got through with Virgo's design. Now we have to do the same for you? Okay, well, at least for your capital M, it has the right number of legs up to it, even if the last one ends in an arrow. It's a prettier one to us for that reason, but we also know you're trying to take away the spotlight from Sagittarius, who is coming up next. So this week, scorpions don't throw things except hands, or tail stingers in this case. Take a ride across a river before it gets too cold.
Sagittarius, as mentioned, your symbol is pretty much exactly as expected. The arrow as shot by a centaur. Come to think of it, why a centaur? In ancient times, it was thought if you crossbred any animals, you'd come out with some form of hybrid beast like a liger or a hiney. Whatever. So why did ancient peoples think a centaur was a plausible combination? Because from a distance, a human riding a horse kind of sort of would look like a centaur. From a distance, especially from the back. After all, the horse would have two asses. So this week, that makes us wonder if dolphin cows might be the reason legendary mermaids exist. Do not go down that rabbit hole of research. on a work computer or network. Trust us on that one. Look it up later.
Capricorn. Wow. Okay, so this design motif from Virgo is getting recreated by you too, huh? Yeah, except you decided to do that whole, at least it's 20% different, so you can't sue me. Yeah, you went with a lowercase n with a lazy loop backtracking under itself. If you think about it from the shape of the animal itself, it's going to be a ram facing left, starting with the horn, forming the legs, then the tail sweeping down and around under it. You know what? We're going to go with that. So this week, don't look at it facing the other way, because then you've got the head down, the hair on the ground, and the hindquarters up in the air. Nobody needs to see that. And you've already looked and you've seen it already. You cannot unsee this. Good. Well done.
Tech.
Take your poo.
Tech.
Yep, sorry, but just sorry, I had to wet my whistle. Aquarius, we're just gonna lay it out there for you. Your two equal wavy lines are supposed to represent the ocean waves. We get that. But as curved equal signs, we're hard pressed to not mention how well this suits your moral ambiguity in most things. Sure, you're overall good, but sometimes you like to dabble back and forth to see what you can get away with or what others would do in certain situations. So this week, rewatch I, Borg from Star Trek The Next Generation and try to decide what the correct and moral way of dealing with third of five should be. Think about it real hard.
In case anybody forgot, third of five was Hugh. They did him dirty. Pisces, you don't get special treatment either, fish face. Look at your design and get ready to be hurt because you're about to be out nerded. Yeah, you nerd. See those outwardly curved sides and the midline connecting beam? That design was inspirational for the 1980s The Empire Strikes Back for something called the TIE Shuttle. So this week, oh, no. No, you don't. Not all TIE fighters had straight or inward curved wings. You rewatch it, and you'll see it briefly in use by Captain Nita. Remember him? That lost sight of the Millennium Falcon? Remember what Darth Vader said to him? Apology accepted, Captain Nita. Be better than Nita and look behind you sometimes.
That's pretty heavy-duty nerd moment right there. Alrighty. Those are your horrible scopes for this week. If you like what you got, don't care. And I've been trying really hard to try to make it really bad for everybody. But if you'd like something nicer or naughtier for yourself or someone else's sign, you can ask. I work on vanity a lot. Or if you want to actually bribe me, you can do that over at the coffee page. Coffee.com/Icarus the Lunar Guard. I'll have these posted online at the end of the week. Tumblr, Facebook, Coffee, Discord, BlueSky, because all the kids have got BlueSky account these days. And well, the best part about it is that you can just, block a whole bunch of people. With good reason, most of the time. I like that. I like that you can do that. It's getting better. Not perfect, but it's getting better. This is episode 551 on the docket, Your Honor. Wait, what? Rapture. Yeah, for those of you that kind of missed out on it, and that would be most of us, apparently there was another Rapture claim that's come and gone yet again. I don't know how many that's gotten to for me. I would probably have a full punched card for this, except that I keep missing out on them because it's, you know, there's a claim and then it's come and gone and I didn't even know it was there. And this is another one of those. So, no, we're not necessarily going to be talking about the claims themselves. However, we are going to very specifically talk about the lamenting that we have, that the fable of the little boy who cried wolf has yet to be learned by these fools. And I am going to call them fools because after so many times, how was it put? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. So, start off the easy way. Did either of you hear about the rapture that was supposed to have been going on?
This time around, actually, there was not really anything that I heard about it. It completely passed me by, not because of atheism, just because there was literally nobody talking about it this time. The
Well,
last one I
not in your
heard about,
circles.
you know, oh no, I'm surrounded by a whole bunch of religious people, but unlike previous moments in time, um, this one was not talked about at all in any way, shape, or form. Not in jest. People weren't making fun of it. There's too many. We live in troubled times. Speaking of that stuff was almost always, in some way, shape, or form, jest or humor. Oh, haha, there's going to be a rapture. There's not a lot of people making jokes right now in the various circles that I roam. And my circles are very diverse. Okay. Everything from MAGA idiots to everybody else. And no, nobody talked about it. I would have known because I tend to make a lot of jokes and come up with a lot of ideas that if I didn't have my own set of morals, I could make potentially a lot of money off of a lot of fools. Case in point, a Rapture pet sitting service. Okay. You have to pay me in advance, all right, starting right now. And when the rapture occurs, before the rapture occurs, you have to give me a home address and a copy of a key to your home. When the rapture occurs, since me not being a religious person, I'm guaranteed to not be raptured. Therefore, I will go to your home and I will care for your pet. I will also need a copy of care instructions, food, and what other medicines and everything else, and copies of the prescriptions so I can have them filled by non-raptured pharmacists and everything else so that your pets will be able to have their full life ahead of them. Because nowhere in the rapture does it say that your pets are coming with you. So, if I was a less scrupulous person, I could be making a lot of money right now on something like that because there are people who would buy into that, who would literally send me in the mail a copy of their house key. There are people that gullible. I don't want to say dumb, I want to say gullible. Okay.
Thank you. I was very, very
Gullibility
much
doesn't mean
hoping
the
that's the word you
person's,
were going to use.
yeah, because gullibility doesn't equal dumb. Okay. It really doesn't. Um, for those of us who aren't gullible in the same way, we have a tendency to view it through the lens of, oh, that person's stupid or that person's dumb. And that's not really the case. It's not a guarantee. Okay. And I've heard of other ones too, like um, people wanting to set up, well, what happens if I get raptured, but uh, my kids don't, or anything like that, and they're potentially underage, and it's supposed to be the rapture this year? The same kind of service, but for taking care of children. Make sure they get to church on time so that they can be raptured at the second part of the rapture event. You know, and so on and so forth. And again, there would be people who would fall for that. So luckily, my personal set of morals and ethics of what I would do and won't do um, prevents me from becoming that person.
So how about you,
I
Io?
mean,
Did you
I
hear?
could sell a bridge in New York for all, you know.
There's a couple of them. Yeah. So, Io, did you happen to have heard about this one?
Oh, I was laughing my ass off. I'm actually hoping that Three Eye Atlas is the aliens that bring the um uh what is it called? What is it called? What is it called? The symbiote, so that us as humans can become members of the StarMind, and I can become an actual Star Dancer. I'm talking Spider Robinson and Gene Robinson's book series, StarDance, StarSeed, and StarMind. In the third book, the symbiote is brought down to Earth from wherever it was in the solar system setting up, and it envelops Earth, and essentially the rapture happens. And if you had the right telomeres, you went and you became a member of the StarMind. If you were lucky enough, you actually survived the transition, because for some people, suddenly being connected to every other human in the StarMind was too much for those poor little brains, and they just kind of collapsed in on themselves. See, that's what I was hoping, because at least then we would be a spacefaring race.
Too much space in
But
between
no.
some years.
It's a 3-book series: StarDance, StarSeed, and StarMind.
And I see that
It
you
was
got 2
actually
out of the 3 linked.
Yeah, I was going to get StarDance linked too. I had signed copies of all 3 books. Thank you, ex-husband, for making one of them disappear. I have 2 of the 3 books. I knew Gene and Spider, and Spider actually told me to keep on writing.
Cool.
But she talked about the StarDance, and supposedly she was supposed to go on one of the next shuttles as one of the civilians. And she was going to try dancing in space.
Okay.
And I wrote him and I said, I've got signed copies of the books. I'm willing to give them to you so that you could give them or use them, sell them for her cancer treatment. Fuck you, cancer. And when she died, she was posthumously made a Buddhist priestess.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Stephanie's got a point over here. Well, 2 I'm going to make mention. First one was that the first Rapture I heard of was in the 19th century. Okay, fair enough. Depending as to how far you want to extend the idea of what a quote-unquote rapture is supposed to be, for some, it's as broad as saying the second coming. Shut up. And technically, that still happened in the earliest parts of the New Testament. After 3 days, the rock got rolls away, and suddenly, oh, there he is again. Well, that's the second coming. All right, so it's come and gone already. Brilliant. Stephanie also said, the thinking atheist has a glorious video, quote, after the rapture. If you have not watched it, please do. We'll track that down. We'll make sure that's in the show notes, just to be on the safe side. It has been a very long time since I'd spoken with Seth Andrews. Lovely individual, by the way. I had him on my Wednesday show for an interview long time ago. It's been like 10 years, and holy smoke, the intro that I did for him, he was laughing very hard and said, the next time I need an intro, I'm gonna get in touch with you. I'm still waiting for that call, for my close up, Mr. DeVille. It's very much like that. Anyhow, so as far as to what we would otherwise talk about as being a rapture, it's supposed to be a specific group of people, usually of one faith or other, is literally going to have these people plucked from the surface of the earth. They could be just disappeared, dematerialized, as if they had been teleported out, or they're literally going to be plucked from the ground and lifted into the air, like so much alien abduction kind of thing. Either way, I don't know how different that really is from what we think of that way, but still, the problem is, well, there are a couple of problems. There have been a number of these supposed rapture concepts that have come through, and not all of them have been entirely benign. Most of them have, because of the numbers. But there have been a couple of them that were just bad. I'm thinking very specifically of Jonesboro and the cult that decided that Shoemaker Levy was an imminent call for them to kill themselves in both cases. Now, before anybody goes ahead and gives me any kind of grief about it, that is literally exactly what happened. They were a group of people who collectively said, the easiest way for us to be raptured is for us to just get rid of our mortal physical bodies. So this is how we will free our spirits so that it can be taken into the skies. To date, no one has been able to prove that's been a workable, viable strategy. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. I'm not saying that it can't work, because those are answers best suited for people who actually have proper scientific investigation and knowledge on these subjects. However, we who are not very medically trained or philosophically trained or trained in a lot of different things, all we can very specifically say is, to date, no one has proven that this works. Could be that it's just a one-way trip, and there is no way to prove it. Well, that sucks for, knowledge. But what's the difference between it's a one-way trip and it doesn't work because there's no way to find out? There's functionally no difference. So, like I said, as far as to what that all is, how it operates, cool, done. Why don't these people learn? If there is no functional difference between it's a one-way trip and you can't come back to explain anything to anybody, and it doesn't work the way that you do think that it works, so why do it? Why does nobody learn? Why can't anybody learn from this?
Oh no, it's just you and me.
Yeah, see that. Something happened. We have pulling up the chat so I can check and see what's going on. I don't see.
It could be anything. It could be weather, could be the net rebooting, could be an emergency. It doesn't matter. We'll miss you, Tech.
Yeah, we'll see you when you get back. One way or another. That being the case,
Uh-oh.
alrighty. That being the case, I'll just leave the names on the screen because they're in the right order anyway. So, yeah, The Boy Who Cried Wolf. That fable is 3 times over. Little boy wants to have a little bit of fun, calls it out. Aha, had a good laugh. Second time, yeah, we're not going to come back for you. And then it gets eaten. I don't know how many raptures there have been in our lifetimes, but I'm pretty sure that we would, like I said, have a full punch card. And yet these people still keep going for it. Why? What possible reason could there be for continuing to just believe these over and over and over and over again?
Hate to say it, but the basic Christian belief is a death cult.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish you were wrong, but I know full well that you're not. It's been pointed out more times than I care to count that that's exactly what it is. It's not just that either. It's a whole retribution thing.
Mm-hmm.
The kids didn't pay attention to daddy, so daddy is going to abuse them and do the worst possible thing to them, which is apparently effectively let them die. Or more appropriately, make it so that they have to die. Which seems really asinine on so many levels, but you know what? Again, hey, whatever. They want to believe that carnivores are vegetarian before that point. Go right ahead and go right ahead and believe what you want to believe. And I'm just checking my phone to see if Tech sent me a text message or something, just be on the safe side. Not so much at the moment. Black, wow. Kind of going back a little bit to the whole how Rapture events are supposed to have happened. My mentioning about how being hoovered up like a extraterrestrials coming through and pulling people off the ground like a Close Encounter of the Third Kind of thing. Black had said presumably with less anal probing than the aliens. I mean, maybe. You know, if the whole thing in the Bible is that man shall not lie with man as he lies with woman, that doesn't preclude pegging. Just saying. Just saying. I mean, you want to talk about loopholes? I mean, okay, bad choice on my part. Okay, so
yeah, now that song's going through my head.
For anybody that doesn't know which song it is, good. You can look it up for yourself later. Don't worry about it.
It's called The Loophole.
Yes, it is. And Stephanie had also pointed out, there are none so blind as those who will not see. Yeah. The context, especially though, making sure that we've got it, is the people who are willfully ignorant. They are the ones who will not, because they choose not to, because it would hurt them if they were to actually see and understand and try to comprehend, or appropriately to succeed in comprehending. So kind of annoying. So Okay. The thing is, it does not entirely surprise me anymore. It's annoying, it's disheartening, but it doesn't surprise me anymore because we have all kinds of religious groups. And I'm going to single out the Christians because there are a very large number of them, and that's who we end up with the largest number here in the United States. So, the largest news cycle over here. There are so many where there are some kind of lawsuit or civil suit, something that has gone bad that they've done. And yet groups still flock to them, yes, intentionally choosing that term, because, well, again, it doesn't make any sense. People like Peter Popoff, who was exposed as a charlatan and a liar and a cheat and a swindler and an opportunist in the worst possible way. He got his ministry back. Swaggart, same thing. I have sinned against you, my people. Had an affair and cried his eyes out, and sometime later he got his stuff back. Jim Baker, same thing. He cheated on his wife. They divorced, and he eventually got his ministry back too. And again, it literally makes no sense to me. Because I'm not going to say they forgive, because it's far and away easier for me to just say they just forget, or they choose not to remember after a certain amount of time, because it sure as shit isn't about forgiveness.
Thank you, Stephanie. I just looked it up.
Looked up what?
The failed raptures.
Oh, there are a number of them.
1843 and 44, William Miller predicted that Christ would return, and he never showed up. 1914, 18, and 1925, Second Coming of Jesus by Charles Taze Russell, founder of the Watchtower Society.
There's also another one somewhere in there that made the splinter group known as the Seventh-day Adventists. I forget which year it was, but it was again a failed Second Coming / Rapture event, and the congregation just got all kinds of pissed off, left them, and formed their own sect.
Yeah, the 1843 and 1844 has a Seventh-day Adventist church in it. Also, followers of the Baha'i faith believe that Christ did return as Miller predicted in 1844 with the advent of the Bab, and numerous Miller-like prophetic predictions from many religions are given in William Sears' book, Thief in the Night. I read that book. It was required reading as a child. And I do mean child. William Sears was one of the hands of the cause and wrote a whole bunch of books about Baha'i faith and his experience. If I remember correctly, he is the grandson or great-grandson of Baha'u'llah, the Baha'is' actual prophet. And it wasn't the Bab that was Christ, it was Baha'u'llah. The Bab was the messenger, so Paul to Christ, I think. The Apostle Paul. Or John the Baptist to Christ, sorry.
It's all good.
I am not Christian. I wasn't raised Christian. I get my stuff mixed up.
Perfectly understandable.
All I know is if one of those pregnancy tests turn up positive, I want 3 wise men and a donkey because I'm going to get my goddamn gold star.
Yet again, we're not going to bring up Ezekiel. If we were going to do it, we would have done it last week. But if anybody wants to look it up, Go right ahead. Heretic
What is
woman
it?
would be proud.
Ezekiel.
22, 23, something like that. It's in there. Go look up Ezekiel Bible donkey. It'll come up.
Oh, that one.
And down and up and down and up and down. I'm a bad man, and I don't have a problem with that.
Yes, you are a bad man. My earring's stuck. Ow, ow, ow. Ow. My earring got stuck in my headphone. Oh.
I was about to say, and this is why I don't wear earrings, except that that's not the reason why, because I never had earrings. I don't find the need for it for myself.
It's my extra piercings, the ones that go up the side of my ear. Ow.
You know
My
what?
poor ears.
It's fine.
You.
It's fine.
Sometimes I really hate you, Chew. I remember which one it is. Yeah, just hearing about all the times of the rapture just since my birth, about every 2 to 3 years, the rapture's coming, the rapture's coming, the rapture's coming. And whether it was a worldwide rapture or just this one religious group rapture.
Or a spiritual rapture. You've heard that one too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then there was the book, or not the book, the TV series, well, probably book as well, where people were left behind.
Oh, that was
that.
Yeah, that was a book first. And it was a movie, and I think it was a TV series also. But yeah, not a very well respected movie. Not a respected movie.
But if you think about it, if all these people supposedly go, that will be less resources, less burden on the earth, might actually be a benefit.
Well, I mean, yes. Yes. And think about it this way. All that property that's left behind, literally, is now available for everybody else's use.
Mm-hmm. 81, Chuck Smith predicted that Jesus would return by 81. 88, Edgar C. Weisenot, 88 reasons, published a book called 88 Reasons Why the Rapture Will Be in 1988. 1994, radio evangelist Harold Camping predicted the 6th of September, 1994.
And then said, oh, well, no, wait a minute. I did my calculations wrong. It's actually going to be after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we remember about Harold Camping.
May 21st, 2011, Harold Camping's revised prediction. 2017, September 23rd, Christian numerologist David Mead, based on prediction of astrological theories. And of course, the most recent one by Joseph Malakea, whatever, of South Africa. I'm sorry, I screwed up the name. I don't like screwing up names like that.
No, but that's the one that's what I'm very specifically mentioning.
Yeah.
Again, it makes no sense.
I was seeing not RaptureTok, but Left Behind talk. The people that knew that they were going to be left behind, and they were laughing. They're like, "Oh, you sold everything? Oh, poor thing. You sold everything. Well, you can't take money with you either."
Yeah, I've seen people be.
But I need my car back. Oh, it was chef's kiss what some of the people were doing. Yeah, just chef's kiss. I'm not saying that the rapture won't happen. I would rather see the StarMind happen. I'd rather see us become a spacefaring race, StarMind style.
There's a lot that I would much rather see. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot I would much rather see happen.
Mm-hmm.
What are the things, let's say, if what we're lamenting is that these people just don't learn because they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, even though it's a failed thing every damn time. There's got to be something that has them entranced so much that they want to believe. And I really wish I had a better understanding as to what that was.
It's because they want to believe that their prophet, their Messiah, has shown back up and is proving their religion right.
That'd be nice for them. So, Tech, how you doing?
What happened?
Just a family thing I had to drop real quick. That's all.
No worries.
Figured.
Okay, so welcome back. Yeah, I even checked my phone to be on the safe side to see if there was something that you needed to let me know about. Because I thought, believe it or not, that what had happened was we were singing the praises of your new setup and all of a sudden, gone. That's what I was afraid. I was afraid your big toe had snagged on a wire somewhere and just pulled it out.
Nah, everything's kosher.
Okay, you're allowed to say that, but just this once. No, not just this once, obviously, but
I'm allowed to say it a lot more than once.
You know what? Screw you, man.
Actually, if you think about it, kosher is actually a way of dealing with food safety and food handling prior to the advent of
To a
refrigeration.
degree,
Mhm.
yeah, to a degree. It's not 100% though.
Yeah.
It could still be better. Same for halal. Could be better.
It's not a power of 10 episode. There's only so much I can get away with. Frick it. You know? Let's just go ahead and just agree that I have a dirty stinking mind. Nobody needs to hear what's going on inside of it right now.
We'll ask you after.
No. 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 Don't do that. So, Tech, we've been basically trying to, go around a couple of different ways and try to figure out why on this green earth these people would just continue to believe in these failed people just over and over and over again. We made mention to Harold Camping, who had his own Rapture prediction. We had Jim Baker and Peter Popoff and Swaggart, and they famously failed, famously caught out as being absolute hypocrites and liars and cheats and swindlers and the whole thing. And a couple short years later, they got their people back. How? How does this shit just keep happening? Obviously, I'm looking at opinion, so you come up with something that's completely far-fetched. I don't know. I don't care.
One of my opinions on this is the fact that it's not gullibility, it's desire. A lot of people do not feel that they have control over a lot of things in their lives. There's a lot of people that miss those who are gone. There are a lot of people who were told that there is something beyond, and that the people that are gone are there. There are people right now, if you were to provide scientific evidence that no matter what you've done in your life, good or bad, regardless of whose definition of it, that if you were to cease to exist now in this life, you would suddenly be with them. That the resulting mess would be a mass catastrophe of people choosing to flip their own off switch, as it were. A lot of them, especially when times are most troubling, and we have very troubling times right now. There is a desire for this beautifully uh, preached concept of an afterlife, and to know that the people who you think are bad are going to not get the good stuff, but you're going to get the good stuff, and you're going to have all your family members and all your friends and all your pets and everybody else with you. That's a big motivator to here's a charlatan, but I mean, they've been a priest, a rabbi, a pope, or whatever for 30 years. They've studied this book inside out, and they assure us with the utmost enthusiasm and, you know, um, character and charisma that this is going to happen next week. They're going to believe it. Part of them is going to believe it.
You know what, Io, he just used a word that I was wondering if it was going to come up. Charisma.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the biggest pieces of the whole damn thing, isn't it?
Yeah. CK isn't being celebrated because he was a good speaker, but because he had the charisma. So MAGA is using him as a martyr. Other wonderful evangelicals, they might be the ugliest looking person, but the way that they have the ability to speak and basically roll a 20 on their charisma checks, like
And by the
I guess,
way, I was onto something here because when she mentioned a person might be physically less than the top 10% of uh, subjective beauty, beauty does enter into it. There is a beauty bias. And if you don't believe that there is a beauty bias or a pretty privilege or any of those sorts of things, just go talk to a police officer for a few hours. Not even a few hours, a few minutes. Ask them, hey, do you see pretty privilege or beauty bias when it comes to dealing with, the general public? And if the answer is no, they're lying to you, or they haven't had to get called out to a bar or nightclub with a whole bunch of drunken, quote unquote, pretty people. Okay.
I'm gonna not say anything about me having the face for radio. So thanks.
you do
Appreciate
have
that.
the face for radio.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that we have statistics, we have the numbers that people who are perceived by society as to be being very attractive have a tendency to get away with more, um, in terms of breaking the law, being believed on their very first statements, um, not being scrutinized as much, not being people not being as skeptical when they come forward and make a claim than over other people,
Oh, I get you.
and it's a problem. Um, I don't care whether a person is declared to be the most beautiful person in the world or not. If they're making a physics claim and they majored in potpourri, um, no, I'm going to be very effing skeptical.
And rightly so. Rightly so.
But the sad part is that we have a statistical bias. There is a bias to believe them just because their looks are appealing, and that's a major problem. And charisma is very similar to that. Charisma is being able to use your word salads and to use vocal intonations and timing and rhythm to send that message out in such a way as it appeals to you, much as a pretty privilege or a beauty bias would, except it's vocal now. There are people out there who you probably wouldn't take a second look at, but if you hear their voice, you're, um, in fact, I think Pexto, the channel Pexto, did a thing on YouTubers being exposed. And one of them, there was one YouTuber who had an amazing voice. And, people wanted him to show his face. There was another, but he knew what would happen, so he didn't do it. There was another YouTuber who had an accidental exposure of his true face. Before that, they loved him. He had a deep, rich voice, wonderful inflections. He could carry a conversation one way, mind you, but he was very good at it, and he had a natural gift in his voice. And then the moment they saw his face, they ripped him on YouTube.
It sounds like Corpse
And
Husband.
but I mean, it's just one of those things that you know, it's really sad.
Yeah. We're familiar with Pexto.
We're very familiar with Pexto.
We appreciate what they do. So there are very few there are very few YouTube channels that we make reference to. Obviously, the Thinking Atheist, because we appreciate them. And a handful of others that end up popping up every once in a while, but we appreciate Pexto. Just want to make sure that one is clearly put out there. Anyway, as an aside, even with my level of charisma, which I will admit, I have found ways of broadening and increasing it to a certain degree without breaking my nose in order to get that much more, fun vocal sound out of it. Like people like Eddie Money had done, and Billy Joel had done. And anyway, I will occasionally get bullied and made fun of.
Occasionally, we do it every Friday.
But believe it or not, there is actually a reason why I'm bringing it up, which is charisma isn't just pulling people in by your own machinations. It's also in playing people, in knowing how groups or individuals, how they operate, and knowing how to make them do what you want them to do. The Batman Gambit. Because if you can manipulate individuals into doing a certain thing, feeling a certain way, observing a certain fact, and coming to a conclusion that you want them to in order to get their mental acuity in a different location, you can make people do whatever you want them to do. It just takes time and patience and a pathological level of study of people. So for a lot of these people in these positions, when you know that they have studied public speaking in some way, you know that they're somebody that you have to be super careful about, because public speaking is just half a step away from advertising. And you might remember a little while ago, I said you are not immune from propaganda. Yeah, it's true. None of us are. Which is exactly the reason why I said Peter Popoff got his stuff back, even though he was exposed as being a charlatan, as a liar. Swaggart. He confessed to being an adulterer. They let it go. I mean, there's so many times where that's exactly what happens. And please recognize also, I'm specifically talking about religious figures here, not civil figures. Want to be clear about that. With good reason.
One of the reasons why I think Rapture is so popular with the Christian crowd is the death cult thing. Y- their entire leader, the 3 days of torture, his death, being resurrected a couple days later, that sort of stuff. And not only do they not only do they have it that suicide is a sin, but the rapture essentially is a type of suicide because you're no longer here on this earth. But it's okay because the Messiah has come back, and it's the rapture, and it's a good thing. But suicide because you're in physical pain and can't handle it anymore is a bad thing. Or because you're terminal anyway and just want to end your suffering on your own terms. That's a bad thing. No, 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 no. It's a loco la cabeza. That's all I can say. Okay, I know a few Spanish phrases. Thank you, Speedy Gonzalez.
Anything that Speedy would actually say, I think we can get away with saying.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I know nothing. I know better. So, yeah, I'm gonna say that we need to kind of move this along, because I'm not doing really great at the moment, and I'm
I can tell.
yeah, I'm starting to fuzz out, and this is not a good feeling or a good place for me. I'll tell you where I want to end up anyway, because this is pretty much where I wanted to end up. What do you two think it would take for the idea for these failed raptures to no longer be accepted, to no longer take to the public?
I can't think of a scenario where the general populace would ignore it. You could have the most respected of any pope to ever exist come out and make a formal statement that there will never be a rapture because whatever reason, and it can be the most acceptable reason whatsoever. And there will be people who will go like, "Oh, that's not a good pope. They're denying this, that, or the other thing." There are people who want, as mentioned in chat, fantasy over reality. regardless of the reason they want it, there are people who want something to occur, something akin to the rapture. Um, even if it's not detail by detail the same thing, you know. Yeah.
Come on, Io. You
If it,
pushed him to get started. Your turn.
the rapture probably won't ever happen. Hell, earthquake predictions. There's all these earthquake predictions about how California is going to be rocking and rolling and blah 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 blah, and it's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger predictions. We're even having a shakeout next week. It's basically the cell phones go off so that we all know that yes, this actually works. So we can have that maybe 30 seconds warning before the earthquake actually hits the area. But predictions like that, yes, they're hit and miss with earthquake predictions, but the rapture, it's not gonna happen. The only thing I'm hoping for is that Three Eye Atlas is actually a spaceship and it's come to say hi.
That would be interesting.
Ooh, how about this? How about this? This is for the religious community, the ones where the rapture applies. What if the rapture happened uh, at the supposed death of Christ and resurrection of Christ, and those who are left behind are everybody else that's around to this day? How you like them apples?
Well, I mean, like I said, the second coming of Christ did, according to the books, happen. You know, it's the whole Easter thing. Went to sleep, come back, cool. It's me. I'm off. You guys take care of yourselves. Bye. In that scenario, the only one who was quote unquote raptured, if you will, who their body died, was the guy that went ahead and gave him a peck on the cheek. So maybe that rapturing did actually happen, but it only happened to the one guy. So
It's supposed to happen again and again and again, and only the worthy will be raptured. And but aren't dogs worthy? Aren't cats worthy? Aren't animals worthy? Da, 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 da. Maybe the rapture happened back in, oh, I don't know, Noah's time.
maybe.
Maybe.
But that does bring up a small problem. And you're right. Are dogs worthy? Are cats?
Are innocent babies worthy?
They weren't for the flood. Didn't matter. When cities were being overrun on God's order, no, they weren't. Well, probably necessarily, because it was kill everyone and kill everything, except for the young girls who have not known a man yet, or whatever the wording was.
I'm just waiting for the Y-Files to do their Rapture episode. They've done Nibiru, they've done the Nephilim, they've done lizard people, they've done Noah's Ark, they've done all this other stuff. I'm just waiting for them to do the Rapture.
And, you know, believe it or not, I was going to say that the only way that it could possibly end would be if it was a positive evidentiary moment. For example, that people were literally levitated off the ground and into the sky, or they were literally en masse just teleported out of their clothing, which in and of itself, that's just weird, but okay, whatever. And people were watching and documenting it to prove this is exactly what happened, just the way it was. Except there is a very famous line about science that is so far ahead of public understanding that is effectively magic. So if people were suddenly teleported out of their skin, or they were suddenly anti-gravitationally sucked up into the sky, do we know that it was divine? Do we not know that it was technological? How do you know one way or the other?
I mean, humans could be being harvested by
And
aliens
of
to
course,
serve man.
one of the best concepts is getting a couple of helium tanks and filling a whole bunch of love dolls and sending them up into the sky just to screw with people. That's been done a couple times, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, folks, we're going to say, on behalf of all of us, don't do that, because the stuff is not nearly biodegradable enough. You will hurt the environment when it comes down to the ground. Please don't do that.
Well,
Plus,
it's
you could
more
get
a
in a
matter.
lot of trouble with the law.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, little ladies grabbing their pearls and falling over dead.
Not to mention that since they're considered, you don't find them generally in just a regular section of, like, say, a grocery store or a um, just a regular store. You usually find them like the 18 plus only section of someplace, and so since they're kind of restricted to keep them away from minors, by inflating them and putting them out in the air, you're kind of exposing a whole lot of youth. And like I said about that legal stuff, you wouldn't just get in trouble for putting uh, basically littering once they came down, potentially causing car accidents, plane crashes, things like that. Now you've got that other side of it too. So you really don't want to do something. It's as a thought experiment, it's funny as hell. In real life, it would be terrible in terms of
Definitely
its
don't use,
repercussions.
and definitely don't use used ones. Definitely don't use used ones.
I mean, you could always just paint a bikini on them. It's
Yeah,
not
they'd be
terribly
sticky.
difficult. Liquid latex, man, it would be fine. You'd stick on and then
I'm just
still. Yeah. Yeah, we do.
I'm just
We are going to get last little bit in here just before we close. What has got you tittering over there?
the fact that they be sticky.
Maybe they were
Well,
in the
yeah, if you
dolphin
use used
tank.
ones.
uh, okay, so what's coming up with me? I am going to not be at the No Kings rally. I don't even think I'll be going to D&D because going to D&D would mean going by the No Kings rally where I'm at. And because of my green card status, I'm trying to keep a low profile. Trying. Um I want to go. I want to be a part of it, but with the way that the current administration has been treating blue states, I don't want to risk it.
That is fair. Tech, any last item? And then if there's any kind of plans you got coming up for the week or whatever coming.
No, I'm boring.
You know, I want to be a wise ass about it, and I
Go
can't.
for it.
No, I can't. Took all the stupid with him. It's fine. It's insult in this case, not stupid. You're not stupid. Actually, come to think of it, if you were, how would you know?
I don't have anything going on. I don't have anything beyond personal things that is not something I'm going to air over the show.
Reasonable. Not a worry.
I'm pretty sure if Brigid was here, she'd be ranting about the government shutdown and how it's been affecting people. And honestly, we know who's at fault, and it's not the blues.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave us off with this last item, which isn't gonna seem like it makes any kind of sense just yet, but trust me when I say that it really will. I really will connect the dots for you. The media has not been covering nearly as much of the protests as we would like, but we know that they are there. And one of the most amusing things has got to be the fact that furries have been out there. Now, I'm not going to say that they are official furries. I am, however, going to say that they are mascot furry costumes out there doing their thing, doing God's work, shall we say. Because whoever it is that decided that they were going to start wearing inflatable mascot animal costumes as their protests, you are wonderful. You are valid. You are a delight. Because the psychological warfare of it all is just mwah, so wonderful.
I agree.
But just remember something. Right now, things are behaving. We want things to continue to behave. And we are fairly confident you guys aren't going to do anything stupid. If anything does go sideways, just remember, you can always take off the outfit and let it float into the air to distract them. Maybe they'll think it's the rapture happening. Who knows? After all, these people aren't exactly being hired for their acute levels of brilliance. Ask anybody that's interacted with these folks. Just please be careful. And that goes for all the rest of you out there also. But I'll get to that in just a moment. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Hope that you take good care of yourselves, got something to think about for the week ahead, and you had a little bit of fun with us. Io, thank you. Good night. It was a pleasure, as usual.
Ciao. Ciao, Bella.
Tech, I appreciate you. take good care of yourself, and whatever's going on, I hope it's solved successfully and satisfactorily quickly.
Thank you.
Which is the nicest way that I can say. Actually, I don't even know quite how to word it. I don't think it really much matters. Any case, for you guys over there in the live chat, thank you very much. Stephanie, Lexa, Ort, appreciate it, guys. Take care of yourselves. And one of the pieces I was going to make mention, since I had a little bit of extra driving time today in the morning and the early evening, please be attentive when you're driving in these early and later hours now. As in like an hour or two before and after sunset and sunrise. Because the local animal populations want to come out and say hi. Just be careful. I saw more than my fair share of deer today. It was kind of terrifying.
I would also like to give out some general advice about travel during these alternate hours. Have a flashlight in the car. Make sure it's got good batteries in it. If it's a rechargeable, make sure it's topped up. Most people have a charger in their car. If it's compatible with it, there you go. Put a small miniature first aid in a kit in the car. Doesn't have to be, a $5,000 kit. Okay? Even if it's just got some aspirin, Tylenol, Band-Aids, and antiseptic wipes. That's better than not having anything at all. And a bottle or two of water, just in case. Doesn't have to be, multiple gallons of water. Just a couple little bottles. And just put it in a nice little box in the back. Just in case.
Yeah, the winter weather is going to be on us soon. Those of us that have to worry about the snow, we'll be attentive to that. You can probably imagine. So, for now, like I said, we're going to call it a night. We are fast approaching the end of the month, which means it's almost seance season. So please be careful out there. Don't be taken in by these seance people. I'll tell you probably next week why that's specifically on my mind. What we'll do with that then. So as always, we'll be very happy to have you guys joining us again next week over here on YouTube. If you'd like to be in touch with us, arguably the easiest way is on one of the social medias. BlueSky and Facebook, of course, being the easiest of it. And Discord is always a good spot. So, minimally, until next week, I wish you all the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My lady, it is still and continuing to be over 20 years now. I am still in love. Well, Matane Fujin. I love you. I cannot tell you how much I miss you. You dream of me. Till the next time we're together, everyone, as always, good night.